The reason we've been able to get 1 million customers on in around 48 hours, which is the fastest we've ever gotten 1 million customers on, is because of the investments and the preparation that happened ahead of this storm.
CenterPoint patting itself on the back for its response thus far. It's not exactly a sentiment shared or likely appreciated by one Greg Abbott, governor of Texas.
What I'm doing to get to the bottom of this is I'm instructing the Public Utilities Commission to undertake a study of about exactly why, not only in this instance, but on multiple occasions, Houston has been able to not have access to power. And so I want to find out, is it a structural issue? Is it a personnel issue? What is the cause of this? And make sure that the PUC gets information to the Texas legislature before the next session begins.
Panel, the governor has promised an investigation. Bob Price, will it matter?
Well, it should matter, but there's always room for improvement in these things. I tend to lean more to listening to what CenterPoint said, where they're moving faster than they've moved in the past. These things do take a lot of time. In our county, we had 96% of the county without power, and they were back up within about 3 days for the most part. But that's 26,000 people. That's a tiny fraction of what's going on here. So you look at all of this and you see the step-by-step process that has to take place in order to safely bring this power back online. It takes time.
You agree with that, Chris?
I absolutely agree with that. When you're dealing with 2.5 million people, and these lines go from the power source out miles and miles and miles, they have to go from the end of the line all the way back to the power source and fix each break before they can turn the line on.
And they have to find them all first.
Yeah, find the breaks. It takes a long time, and so I don't find that this is a CenterPoint is being negligent in this. It just takes a long time, and we've got workers coming in from all over the United States with agreements that they have with all these power companies all over the United States. I was talking to people who finally showed up on my street yesterday, and I walked up to a guy and I said, if you looked any better, I'd hug you. and I said, are we going to get power today? And he said, no, you're not. He said, we're just now starting to investigate your line. He said, you may get it tomorrow. And I said, just thank you for being here. And he said, thank you for being nice. And he said, because you'd be surprised at what we've been putting up with. I said, I'm sorry you had to deal with that.
Holly, 2 facts that we have to remember. Yeah. Number 1, we got a lot of trees.
Right.
Number 2, most of our lines are above ground on poles.
Yes, and to Chris's point and to Bob's point, these things do take time. It does require some post-repair analysis. That's super important, and a lot of times we just don't understand how things work very much anymore, right? And I think for a lot of people, they're slow to understand that you can't just flip on the power. You can create fires, you can create explosions. You have to gradually and meticulously go through this. Above ground versus below ground lines. Yes, there's an argument to be made for the buried lines, and we've seen some success with that, but there's also some analysis out there that suggests that you have to kind of pick your poison, because there's problems with buried lines too, especially in our area that's very flood prone. So yeah.
All right, we'll talk more about it in overtime. When we